Hi, welcome back. I am really excited to talk to you about the two books today for our book talk. So, last week we talked a little bit about a smush, a mashup of contemporary fantasy that combined mystery. And today I am totally focusing on mystery thrillers. And I do love a really good mystery. And there's so many different ways that an author can frame a mystery to keep the suspense building. So, the two mysteries that I've chosen to share with you really play with time. So, what happens in both of these is that you get different perspectives based upon time. So, in the first book I'm going to show you, you have now. So, what's happening right now, okay? And then you have flashbacks to what was happening then. And it's a very short time period. It's basically over a summer. So you have August and then June. But there's also a flashback further into January. And what is affecting this protagonist and other things that are going on. And so I love it because it makes your mind really have to work to keep all the pieces of that puzzle together. And so, without further ado, and the other book I have too does the same thing. So, we'll look at that and how it can really build up the suspense. So, the first book I'm going to share with you is I Killed Zoe Spanos by Kit Frick. Now, you look at this and you're like, dude, I already know, man. The main person killed her, right? Not so easily solved, my friends. Haha, you and Sherlock Holmes. So look at this, all the blue, right? So you're going to think, ooh, this is going to be by the ocean. And you are right. So we are going to Long Island, my friends, okay? And our main character is not, of course, Zoe Spanos. It's going to be the I, okay, the protagonist that we are hearing from. And her name is Anna Ciccone. And Anna is trying to escape stuff. Okay, so remember I told you there's things in January. That's part of the stuff. And it's the stuff in January and the stuff before that that she is trying to move beyond. And I'm not going to tell you more, except that the Anna from then is trying to reinvent herself. Okay, she's about 18 years old and she's already lived like maybe the life of somebody in the 20s. And we all probably have been at a point in our life where we think to ourselves, ugh, I wish I could just be someone else right now. Yeah. And this is where Anna is. So she's really trying to escape like some of the friends from then, some of the events from then. And so she lands this really sweet gig for the summer. Okay. And think, really upper crust, really nice place. It's still in Long Island, but like Martha Vineyard type thing. And she gets this sweet nanny gig in a place like that in Long Island, okay? And she's just like, yes. She goes for an interview. The little girl is allowed to pick like who she wants. Like, okay, spoil little girl much? Yes, but honestly, this little girl is super sweet too. And Zoe just feels welcomed by this family. She's a little out of place because it's not like her kind of people. She did not come from a wealthy family. She comes from a family that is working class, maybe poor, with a single mom. And so this is kind of a way for her to escape a bit. I mean, these people have like this beautiful in-ground pool and the ocean is right there. Like for real? For real. And so she's thrilled. But guess how this book starts off? The very first chapter, it says, now, August. She's in with police detectives and she says, yes, I killed Zoe Spanos. And you're like, okay, where's the mystery? Like, what's happening? And then you go back to then, which is in June. And here's the sweet gig. Zoe Spanos is not there. In fact, Zoe Spanos went missing in January. And when people come up to her, they say, oh my God, you look just like Zoe. Like, that can't be right. Like, Zoe's been gone. Like, she went missing. She went missing in January. Like, none of us know where she is. Anna doesn't even know who Zoe is. In fact, Zoe used to babysit the little girl that she's the nanny for. Say what? How could she kill someone not only that she doesn't know, but who came from this like super rich area that Anna has never been. And why is it that 3 months later she's saying, I killed her? Say, what? Like, how can that be? So as you read this book, you go back from where she is now as she's learning more about Zoe. Like, how can I look like just like someone? And they say, well, you know what? Now that I look closer, you're not just like her, but your hair and just certain things you do, it just reminds me of her. And she becomes intrigued, right? So you go back to June and July, and you meet Zoe's boyfriend and other friends. And you see Anna becoming intrigued, right? I mean, wouldn't you kind of be intrigued? Like, this girl that went missing? Like, who was she? And why do people think, like, I look like her? And I've never even met these people. To now, where she's confessing. What's happening now? What's the difference from then and now? And what's the big deal about January? What happened in January? Oh, do you see how time can ratchet up the suspense? Because Anna's not really talking to us about January. And part of the reason, and January, remember, is when Zoe went missing. And part of the reason is that Anna's not sure she remembers. Did she know Zoe? What do we think? Do we know? Why does she look like her? Read and find out. I killed Zoe Spanos, and did she? Time plays funny tricks, my friend. So the next book I have to share with you is called The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. And Karen writes a lot of other books. Do you like how I call her Karen? Like, we're good friends. Karen M. McManus writes a lot of books like this. So if you enjoy it, definitely pick up other books by her. The Cousins is her latest. And look at the tagline. Isn't this great? Family first, always. Look at all the X's on those people's faces. A little bit dark and deep, right? And then I also love the back of this. Families keep the best secrets, even from each other. Now, come on, peeps. You know this is true. Haven't you ever gone and, like, you find out something about your family and you're like, well, I didn't know that. When did that happen? Okay. Now, I love this because the name of this family is, their last name, Story. What are we reading? Story. Okay, that's just a me thing. I love it, though. So you have, now, once again, I don't know what it is. I'm reading about all these rich people in these books, right, that are from like back east. But this is another rich family. Again, from an island that very much reminds me of something, like I mentioned, like off of Long Island or something like that, something very rich. And the Story family, like, basically owns the island. So everybody who lives on the island is descendants of descendants of descendants. It's like very much like we go back generations. And the Story family is like, buku bucks. Okay. Here, I got to show you the lineage tree. Let me show you the lineage tree, okay, or the family tree. Okay, I love doing that. So here we have the tree, the family tree. Okay, so we have Abraham and we have Mildred. Isn't that a name? Mildred. And you'll notice that over here, we have another Mildred. Okay, that's her granddaughter. Now notice that Abraham and Mildred had 4 kids. And guess what they did? Well, Abraham didn't do it, but Mildred did. She cut them out. Not only did she cut them out from the family, she said, get off my island and never come back. Now, this is before any of them had children, found partners, just, you're done. And in a letter that she wrote to them, she said, I know what it is that you did, and I want nothing to do with you. Ooh, come on. You know you want to know what's happening. So what I love about this book is it does a lot of different things to keep you interested and to keep you engaged. One is it tells it from multiple perspectives. You have 3 different people, all of them are young adults, who are telling the story. Okay, so it goes through each of their viewpoints, and I'll tell you who they are in a moment. The second thing it does is it plays with time, just like I Killed Zoe Spanos by Kit Frick. Okay. So we go from present time back to 1986, I believe, which is the time when the kids, because we're hearing from the grandchildren, the 3 points of view of the grandchildren, Millie, Aubrey, and Jonah. Okay. And she doesn't go by Mildred, she goes by Millie. I would do the same. And so we hear from their different perspectives, and then we go back into 1986 when one of their parents was going through the experience of which I know what you did kind of thing. Okay. And we don't really know what's happening in the 1986 period. There's not a lot of time slippage there. We get these little gaps that fill in, little puzzle pieces, but it's just enough for you to go, ooh, I think I know what's happening here. Okay. And it explains a lot of what is going on. So let me tell you what the story's about. Okay. So you get the whole, I cut you off, I don't want anything to do with you, from very uptight, very much manners, family, image is everything, Mildred. And then 3 letters are sent out to each of her grandchildren saying, I want to reconnect with you. I would like to offer each of you a job working at, she's got estates everywhere, but working at one of her hotels on the island. I think this would give us an opportunity to reconnect. Now I'm going to tell you right now, these kids have no connection to grandma. These kids all have other ideas of what they would rather be doing with their summers than spending time with some prissy woman they've never met who clearly has had nothing to wanted nothing to do with their lives, okay? But now their parents want what? They want the money. Now, I will be real and say that maybe I'll be a little generous. Maybe one of them wants to reconnect, okay? I won't tell you which one. For the most part, yeah, they want that money. So they force their children to do this. Now, some of them just don't get a choice, but some of them are bribed. Hey, go see grandma. Anybody ever have that in their family? Go see grandma and I'll do this. So they go. All right. So we get to hear from each of their perspectives. Now, Millie comes from a very high class family. And by high class, I mean economic class. Her family makes good money. Both her mother and her father. She is not in need necessarily of the money, but she is used to a certain kind of lifestyle. But she's still pretty much down to earth, but things, material goods are very important to her. Then we have Aubrey, and Aubrey is just likable. She's just like this really honest to goodness, kind person. She is an athlete. She is a swimmer. And she just looks for somebody to love her. Okay. Like, just, Dad, will you love me? Will you genuinely love me? No, I don't like her dad. That's just my opinion though. Okay. So, but she's a good heart. She's got a good heart. And then you got Jonah. And so like, they're all meeting through text messages. Like once they get these letters and they're like, you got to go. They're all like, okay, I got to go look up my cousins and find out who you are. Cause none of them know each other either. Besides the fact that they've been disowned from this family, their grandmother, none of them know each other. The only person they all seem to know is an uncle who never got married. But even he's been out of the picture for a long time. So they arrive and you get all their different perspectives. But here's the weird thing. They meet grandmama. She seems a little surprised to see them. Like, maybe I didn't send that letter surprised? What's going on with the Story family? What was it that happened that made Mildred say, leave? And when you go back to 1986, you get to see how much she loved her children. I mean, loved her children, faults and all. What is it that happened that would make someone say, no more? And why does she seem surprised to see these grandchildren? what is it these cousins will find out? Because they're not necessarily there anymore for their parents' agenda. They're there to find out what it is that happened that one summer in 1986. So, The Cousins by Karen M. McManus and I Killed Zoe Spanos by Kit Frick. Both are incredible mysteries that use wonderful pacing with time to keep suspense, and also perspective in the case of The Cousins, to keep you looking at it from different points of view. So I love a good mystery. These are fantastic. I guarantee that you might be surprised by some of the stuff that comes out, especially at the end, because they are books that will give you surprises up to the very end. So I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that you want to pick up one of these books and read, and give mysteries that definitely show you different perspectives, whether it is time or character, a try. So until then, I wish you good health and happy reading.